with the buoys.
We departed Visby very early, but the wind wasn't as expected. First of all, we just pulled out the mainsail, but we needed a little more speed, so we pulled out the Code Zero also. It was a bit of an experiment, as I knew that the foresail probably wouldn't fly behind the mainsail in this light wind, as the Code Zero is a heavier nylon material compared to a Jenica, for example. The only way that we could fly both sails is a wing-on-wing sail plan, but the wind was too far to our starboard side to be able to do this. And you can also see that when you've got a bit of a swell and a very light wind, it can flog the sails a lot. Good morning, guys. Leaving Visby behind over there and just going downwind at the moment. But we haven't got enough wind to make the main and the Code Zero work at the same time, so we're just going to have to take the main in and fly the bigger sail instead. But hopefully the wind should fill in a few hours. And then, yeah, we get some speed up. We're only doing 3.6 knots at the moment, so just have to keep an eye on it and make some distance with the motor if we need to. So the next plan was actually just to take the mainsail in and see if the Code Zero would take us alone, but it just wasn't enough wind. We were only doing sort of 3.5 knots, so the sails had to come in, the motor had to go on. What's going on, honey?
I'm doing Sudoku. But I think I'm in over my head. Is that it? Yeah, in over my head on this one. But the sun is out now. It's summer again.
Yes, well, we haven't filmed this much during this passage actually because there's been nothing to film. I really hoped the winds would come for the south and fill in. But it just didn't happen. We've been sitting here with sort of 6 to 8 knots of wind, which just isn't good enough for downwind really. Even with the big Code Zero out, it's just not gonna happen. Well, we could have made it at like 3.5, 4 knots, but it would have taken like double the time. So we've had the engine on for quite a while now, and we're gonna be in 2 or 3 hours, and passage is probably taken in the region of about 12 hours. But the sun's just come out. It's been raining most of the day, and we've just been wallowing around out here just with the motor on. But yeah, it's super nice now. Sarah the cat is actually awake now. She sleeps 16 hours a day most of the while sailing.
That's what I do.
So one of the important things that's probably worth mentioning on this crossing is stay out of the ferry lanes, because there's more or less a direct line between Nynäshamn and Visby, and it's like a motorway of ferries basically running in between. So if you stay either side of that ferry line by like more than 1 nautical mile, you're going to be fairly okay. But if you get into that line, you got to start dodging these ferries, and I think they might get a little bit annoyed with you. One of the ferries actually lost, there was a man overboard going on the radio. It wasn't worth putting the video on because it was barely intelligible on the VHF, but yeah, they were asking cargo ships and ferries to look out for a man that had been lost out to sea today, so we just hope that guy's or girl is going to be okay. Is found somewhere, hopefully alive. We heard something on the radio earlier on that it was a passenger ship that lost had a man overboard, and it's probably got to be one of the Gotland ferries in that shipway, because now a Coast Guard helicopter has just passed us at 500 feet doing 80 knots, so he's not doing full speed and he's doing sort of a search, so they're still looking for him. It seems like he's on his way towards Visby now, heading south, and yeah, hopefully they find him. Finally got the sail out again within the last hour of the trip here. I think we've had the motor on for about, I don't know, more than 3/4 of the journey, which has sucked, to be honest. I hate using the Iron Horse, but there we go. But yeah, now we've got the Code Zero. We're dead downwind right now, which actually works with the Code, but you need at least 11 or 12 knots of wind to make it fly properly. Really, it's not a really light sail like a Jenica or something, or a Code 1. It's a bit heavier, so it needs a bit more to make it fly. But when it does fly, it does really well. I mean, if you let go of the halyard at the front there, it opens up the front of the sail and it makes a really nice shape. We're just on the edge of it flying right now. You can see it luffing just a little bit, but I think it's okay. So yeah, I can also feel that the wind is shifting a little bit because the sail is trying to come round. So I might have to put a few degrees to starboard, but let's see. Just enjoying the sail. Well guys, we've arrived in this little bay here and I'm a little bit tired, so I can't even remember what the name of it is. I'll tell you tomorrow maybe. But yeah, it wasn't much of a sail to be honest, but we've been so lucky over the last couple of sails, sailing down to Gotland and then to Visby. We actually managed to sail all the way round there. So yeah, sometimes you got a motor, but there we go. I never like putting hours on the engine, or I never like using diesel, but that's the way it is sometimes. But it's a beautiful bay that we have just landed in now, and yeah, I'm surprised that a lot of people have actually anchored. Usually when you've got a nice cliff line like this, people like to come alongside on the cliffs in Sweden, but yeah, that's the way it is tonight, I guess. It could be a good staging point for them to make a crossing, maybe to Visby, maybe to Gotland. So people usually like to put the anchor down when they're going to leave very early in the morning, when they're going to do a crossing, because it's nice and simple just to get the anchor up and then just leave. So we see how many boats are in tomorrow morning and see whether that's the case. Just had a nice Mexican meal, and well, that's about all there is to say for tonight really. We're gonna get a good night's sleep and then continue the holiday tomorrow and see where we end up. We're probably heading to Nåttarö tomorrow. Looking forward to that one. It's crazy women.
Og så springer vi på nu.
Ja. 3, 2, 1, nu. Nej, 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 nej! Just practice sound.
That didn't go to plan.
Warm. Oh my god, it's like tropical.
Oh really? Oh yeah, yeah.
It's nice. I'm so glad we did this.
No, you're not.
Sort of.
I thought she was counting, so I jumped. And then she said no, and I was in mid-air. What?
It is a new morning and we're in the Bay of Unknown. Once again, I'll tell you what it is again a bit later. Apparently they lost a fender clip, so I'm going to have to go diving for that in a bit anyway. So yeah, just going to take it easy right now, just down here. And what am I doing? Yeah, this is YouTube. Every once in a while you have to start downloading the cards and everything like that, so bit of power off the batteries, I can tell you that much. I mean, right now we're only drawing 114 watts. The solar setup I've got isn't keeping up that much when the sun's not out that much. Maybe an arch one day, that could be nice just to supplement that, and then we're going to be pretty sorted. But yeah, that's a future project, that's for sure. We had an all-day sail yesterday, so it's not like we're in the need of any moving. Hello.
Hello.
You're sneaking on me.
I'm peeing.
Okay. Brilliant. When are you guys gonna dive and get my fender holder?
Do you have some glasses or something?
Yeah.
I can't see anything.
Wouldn't have to go in if you didn't drop things off the boat every time.
We didn't drop anything on purpose. So Chris untied a stop knot on one of the fender holders, and yesterday when we put the fenders on, the fender holder slipped off. So someone has to go diving now. Woo! This is Blackly.
Not warm. Not warm. So the depth in this part of the bay was only about 4 or 5 meters, so that's not too hard to dive, and it was always nice to go down and see how good the Bruce anchor is actually in the mud. It really does a great job.
Yay! Well done, honey. Good job.
Just while diving on the boat there, you know, I dived on the keel in front and I knew it was going to be pretty close to the shore, but we're like maybe 10 centimeters away from the rock with the keel there, which isn't so much of a problem, but you know, it's always good to, when you're coming in, to use that depth sensor just in front of the keel to know, okay, this is really where I've got to stop now. Anyway, just going for a quick walk now. Quite a beautiful anchorage here, a really nice stopping place if you're coming from Gotland or Gotska.
I'm not really sure this is made for me. I'm very scared it's gonna break.
You're not that heavy, honey.
The dog just scared all the dogs into the water.
Well, this is a place called Nåttarö, and it's in the southern part of the Stockholm archipelago. And it's pretty cool actually, because there's not too many places in Stockholm where there's many beaches actually. And when you do find a beach, it's a little bit special, especially a beach with nice sand and, you know, a gentle slope into the water.
This island, Nåttarö, is a part of Skärgårdstiflesten's area. So Skärgårdstiflesten is an ideal organization that looks after many of the islands in the archipelago, and they are the ones that make sure that on some of the islands you can find like das, which is like an outdoor toilet, and they're also the one who runs some of the saunas on some of the islands, and also take care of the fact that you can actually dispose of bottles or cans and your household garbage on the islands. We did see for the first time when we came into one of these anchorages, we've seen that they have anchor buoys, both where you can lie out in the bay, but also where you can use them as stern anchors when you go towards the rocks, or even towards the small wooden dock they have here. And I just read here that they actually want you to use those buoys because it's a part of a test. So they want to test whether using those will allow the bottom vegetation to actually recover after they have seen that it gets damaged and doesn't really do very well after all of the anchors from boats. So they actually encourage people to use them, You have to pay. It's just a mobile payment. There is I saw yesterday, which is really cool. There's QR code on all the buoys, so you can scan that and then you pay into Skärgårdstiflesten, which is also not just to pay for this, but it's also a part of a contribution to this ideal organization, so they can keep doing all the good work that they are doing. But I think it's a really, really good idea, and I hope that we're going to see more of these anchor buoys in many of the places, so that we can help preserve the nature. One of our issues here with the anchor buoys is that they only allow 8 ton, so we couldn't really use them because we're between 11 and 12 tons. So I hope that the test is going to be successful, and hopefully we will see these more places and with bigger capacity. But it's a really, really cool initiative that they're doing. This looks to be a very, very cool island.
As always guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy this channel or it's been a help to you, please consider supporting us on our new Patreon account, or if you're not up for that or you don't want the commitment, that's absolutely fine, but maybe just buy us a beer on PayPal. It'll really help us out. For a long time now I've considered it, as the channel does cost a fair bit to run with all the gear that's required. Any funds will go directly into the channel for gear maintenance or buying new things to take this channel to the next level. We might not release a video every week, but we will do our best to take you along our journey with exclusive updates. Take care guys, and I'll see you next time.